ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नमः श्री शंकरानंद नमः श्री शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। This chapter here is to discuss trupti, or that joy or the fullness that is experienced by the wise man when he gains the knowledge of the self. Atmanam ched vijaniyat ayamasmi iti purushah kimicchan kasya kamaya shariram anusanvaret. When one knows the true nature of oneself as this, meaning one has the immediate knowledge, clear knowledge that is immediate, clear, free from doubt or vagueness. And when one comes to know the self, which is complete, which is full, limitless, then there doesn't remain any desire, there does not remain any desirer. All that remains is ananda, fullness. Now what is the nature of that is being discussed here. So far the discussion was centered around the word Purusha, meaning the individual, the person who gains the knowledge. Who is that person? That person is called Chiravasa, meaning the ego, the reflected consciousness, or the consciousness, the self, identified with the gross and the subtle bodies. And that is how there arises a sense of individuality. There is no sense of individuality, there is no individuality in the self, which is limitless. There is no individuality in this gross or the subtle body which is inert and therefore cannot have any sense. The sense of individuality arises because of identification of the self or the Atma with non-self, with the gross and the subtle bodies. And thus arises this entity called ego, which in technical terms is called Chidabhasa, or reflected consciousness, consciousness identified with the gross and the subtle bodies. So that ego is the one who comes to know the self as limitless. But ego is limited. How can a limited one know itself as limitless? But ego is not limited really, inasmuch as limitlessness is the true nature of ego. And therefore, when ego comes to know that I am limitless, that means that knows the sense of ego or individuality is false, and that my true nature is limitless. This is how he comes to know. Now, I am asmi the Purusha. I am means this. He comes to know this I am. So that particular verse in the Upanishad describes the knowledge of the wise person as I am asmi, this I am. This is the pronoun. What is the meaning of the pronoun this in that particular verse? He knows this to be I. What is this? This. Continuing the verse 19, Evam Purushah Asmidi Padadvaya Prayoga Abhiprayam Abhidaya Ayamidi Prayoga Padaprayoga Abhiprayamaha. Purushah Asmi, that Purusha, the person, comes to know I am such and such. Now that Purusha and Asmi, these two words are explained in the discussion so far, and now the discussion that it will follow explains the word I am. In that verse, I am means this. Iti padaprayoga abhiprayamaha. What is abhipraya? What is the intention or purpose on the part of the Shruti in employing the word I am? This I am. So, the verse 19 says that Asandigdha viparyasta bodho dehatmani kshare तद्वदत्रेति निर्णेतुम् ayamityabhidhiyate, ayamityabhidhiyate. Asandigdha aviparyastha bodha dehatmani ikshate. In illustration, what is the nature of the knowledge? What is the clarity of the knowledge? For that a very beautiful illustration is given. Dehatmani laukikanam prasiddhe deharupe atmani samshaya viparya rahito ayamasmiti bodha yadvat upalabhyate. Just as laukikanam, for the ordinary people, common people, deharupe atmani, a common person takes this body as a self. So whenever an ignorant person, a common person refers to the self, what is meant is this body, this I am, that is the knowledge. And that knowledge, that this body I am, or this I am, in that he has no doubt, there is no vagueness, there is no error. So the knowledge that this body I am, how that knowledge is free from any doubt, how that knowledge is free from any vagueness or any error. So that is called clear knowledge or immediate knowledge. If you want to know what is aparoksha jnanam, or what is, the question is, what is aparoksha jnanam? What is immediate knowledge? Well, the knowledge that I have presently of myself, I am so and so. So how clearly you wake me up at midnight and who are you? I am Swami so and so. Without hesitation I can say that, effortlessly. And what is that Swami? Swami is nothing but this body. Or maybe the kind of notion that I may have, so my subtle body can be called Swami, my ego. But that I am so and so, that knowledge is very clear. I am firmly rooted in this knowledge. I effortlessly abide in this knowledge. I am so and so. And that knowledge is clear, free from any doubt, free from any vagueness, free from any error. So if you want to know what is meant by knowledge, then we already have the illustration. Just as presently I have the knowledge that I am a man, I am a woman, I am father, I am whatever. So Atmani samshaya viparya rahitaha. Samshaya means doubt, viparya means error. That it's not that I commit the error sometimes of taking the microphone to bag. You used to ask me, who are you? I am the microphone. That error never happens. Or you ask me the question, who are you? Wait a minute, let me think who I am. That kind of a hesitation also is never there. Never do I start doubting who I am, nor do I commit a mistake of taking myself to be other than what I am. And therefore the knowledge that I have of myself at the moment, meaning taking this individuality as a self, that knowledge is free from any doubt and error. So that is called clear, abiding knowledge. Iti bodha yadvat upalabhyate. Just as this bodha or this knowledge obtains in case of the ignorant people. Tadvat atraiti. Atra pratyagatmani vishay tadvat tathavidam jnanam. So similarly also, wise person is one who has such clear knowledge about Atman. Who are you? I am limitless. Whether he uses the word or not. But this knowledge is there, I am the limitless self. I am the skutastha asanga chidvapuhu. I am the chidvapuhu, I am the awareness, which is changeless, which is boundless, which is independent. So one knows the self so clearly, as clearly today I know this body as a self. So atra pratyagatmani vishaye tadvat tathavidam jnanam iti nirnayatum ayamiti abhidhiyate. Mukti siddhahe sampadyam. That one must attain this clarity of knowledge for mukti or moksha. So one's knowledge is always that which is spontaneous. What is spontaneous is called knowledge. How spontaneously I say, I am so and so. So spontaneously when I can say, I am Brahma, I am limitless, I am awareness, then know that you have the knowledge. If I have to deliberate, meditate, there is not spontaneous knowledge. So as long as any effort is needed on my part to think or to concentrate my mind, focus my attention, and then to see myself as limitless. And when that effort of that meditation or effort of that attention goes away, again I commit the error of taking this body to myself. So long we do not call it knowledge. It is still knowledge with obstacles, sap-pratibandhakam jnanam. When all the obstacles, an obstacle of ignorance, obstacle of doubt, obstacle of error, these few obstacles are there, when all the obstacles are removed, then that knowledge, devoid of all the obstacles, is spontaneous knowledge, and that is called knowledge. And that is the knowledge, that is the kind of knowledge one should have in order to gain moksha or liberation. If some obstacles remain, some habitual error remains, that's so that I will still work. If there are doubts, means I still have to work. If there is vagueness, means I still have to work. So one avagati paryantam jnanam. Shankaracharya explains in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, athato Brahma jignasa. Jignasa means jnatum ichcha. That san pratyay is applied to the root jna. And san means ichcha. But what kind of ichcha? Avagati paryantam jnanam. That jignasa or the desire, and jignasa there means vichara or the inquiry. This inquiry or this pursuit of knowledge must continue until avagati or this clear abiding knowledge takes place. This I am is a pronoun which in English means this. And the pronoun this is always employed for something that is evident, something that is very immediate. If something is remote, we employ the pronoun that. Something that is evident, I call it this. And of that the masculine is I am. So idam is neuter and masculine is I am. So since Atma is used as a masculine word in masculine, therefore is I am ahamasmi, I am this. That pronoun this is employed by the Shruti, by the Upanishad, to show that jnanam is aparoksha jnanam. That it is clear knowledge, free from doubt and error, as clearly I have the knowledge, I am so and so. Iti abhidhiyate. So tadvat atre iti nirnetum ayam iti abhidhiyate. And therefore, in employing this pronoun ayam, meaning this, the Shruti or the Upanishad has a purpose. What is the purpose? That the knowledge should be as clear as indicated by the pronoun ayam. And then alone that knowledge will become means for liberation, not otherwise. So mukti siddhe tathavidam jnanam sampadhyam. And therefore, one must acquire knowledge of that nature for mukti, for liberation. Iti nirnetum, in order to ascertain that ayam iti abhidhiyate shrutya iti sheshaha. You should add word shrutya, that by the shruti, this pronoun ayam or this is employed. Is it your opinion that this is the knowledge required for liberation, or do you have some authority? It says, idrishasya bodhasya moksha sadhanatvecha acharya vakyam samvadayati. That this kind of knowledge alone is the means for moksha or liberation. For that, acharya vakyam samvadayati. Samvada means shows the concurrence. Acharya means Shankaracharya. That Shankaracharya also means this. Shankaracharya also says that it is this kind of knowledge that alone is the means for moksha. In a text called Upadesha Sahasri. And therefore here, the Paṃcadaśī, this author, quotes a verse from Upadesha Sahasri. And that forms the verse 20th of this text here. Dehatma jnana vajnanam, dehatma jnana vajnanam, dehatma jnana badakam, dehatma jnana badakam, atmanyev bhavedyasya, atmanyev bhavedyasya, sanechannapi muchyate, sanechannapi muchyate. Dehatma jnana vajnanam. Deha eva atma. So dehatma jnanam, the one who takes the deha to be the self. So this knowledge that I am Brahma, I am limitless, should be as clear as presently I have the knowledge I am this body. That is dehatma jnana badakam. Only that clear knowledge, aparoksha, presently I have what we call aparoksha jnanam, that I am body. So knowledge, the quality of knowledge, you see, for example, when I say that I am a man or I am whatever, then what is the nature of that knowledge? It is not perceptual knowledge. It's not that I perceive I. It's not perceptual knowledge. It is not some kind of feeling. It is not some kind of a state of mind. It is the direct, immediate knowledge of myself. So we are not unfamiliar with aparoksha jnanam. We are familiar with what we call aparoksha jnanam or immediate knowledge. The knowledge of I is always aparoksha jnanam, because I is self-shining. What happens today is not only the eye shines because it is self-shining, self-effulgent, but at the same time, this body, mind, intellect, they also shine. And on account of not being able to discriminate that I and this body, or the mind and the intellect, that both of them shine in different places. That I is the subject, and this body, mind also, which are shining, they are the object. Not being able to discriminate between these two, I lump both of them together, and thus I conclude that I am this mind, I am the intellect, I am the body. So it is really not somebody's fault. The conditions are right, conditions are there for one to have this projection. I, the self, is self-effulgent, and in the light of the self, the buddhi also shines, the mind also shines, intellect also shines, they shine. And therefore, I commit this, I superimpose one upon the other, and thus lump them together and come to the conclusion that I am a human being, I am a man, I am this, I am so and so. And this is aparoksha jnanam. That aparoksha jnanam can be only displaced by another aparoksha jnanam. Paroksha jnanam of Brahma cannot really displace the aparoksha jnanam of the body being Atma. Therefore, we require aparoksha jnanam to displace the aparoksha jnanam that we have today. Meaning that we require that same clear and immediate knowledge that I am Brahman, as clear and immediate knowledge I have today that I am this body. Aham manushya, I am a human being. Iti dehatma vishaya dhrida pratyayo yatha. This is a firm knowledge, firm abiding knowledge I have, I am a human being. This is called dehatma vishaya, because human being is the attribute of the body, and the attribute of the body which is human being is taken to be the attribute of I, and I claim to be human being. That shows that I am taking this body to be I. So our very expressions and conclusions reveal the nature of our knowledge or nature of the projection. Drida pratyayo yatha evam pratyagatmani eva. Similarly, similar drida or firm knowledge must be with reference to the true nature of the self. Deha eva atma, this is dehatma. Iti evam dehatmatva jnana apavadhanena brahma asmiti jnanam istajayate. So, he is a wise person in whom this knowledge arises. I am Brahma. I am limitless. As simply, clearly and effortlessly knows today, I am the body. Saha vidvan, such a vidvan, meaning such a wise person, icchannavi, nechannavi, moksha ichcha rahitopi. Suppose he doesn't want liberation. It's just, this is only to illustrate the point or to emphasize the point. Such a person who knows the self to be Brahman, the limitless. Suppose he doesn't want liberation, even then he gets liberated, Na icchannavi moksha ichcha rahitopi muchyate. Samsara, even if he wants to be born, he cannot be born again. That's the idea. Meaning, even if he wants to continue with a limited life, he cannot, he's already liberated. So one who has this knowledge, of course, we cannot expect him to be born, to have a desire to be born, etc. But this is just to illustrate the point. The person who knows the self as Brahman, the limitless, as clearly as the person knows the body to be a self, whether that person, even if that person doesn't want liberation, gets liberated. Because samsara hetoho, what is the hetu, the cause of samsara, the bondage? Ajnanasya, ignorance is the cause of this bondage. Jnanena apavaditatvat. See, that ignorance which causes the bondage is eliminated or destroyed by the knowledge. Therefore, there is no way that he remains a bound person. That person becomes liberated. So this knowledge, this firm and clear knowledge that I, the self, is limitless, that is a means for moksha or liberation. So this word I am or this has been interpreted to show the quality of nature of knowledge. It should be aparoksha jnanam. But I am represents something that is aparoksham, immediate. Now continuing says, ayamiti padaprayogasya abhiprayantaram shankate. But I am or this, it does denote something immediate. But why do you say that it denotes immediate knowledge? We say that the object of knowledge immediate, it denotes that Atma is immediate. So now Purvapakshi says that Ayam refers to Atma. And not, that means Atma or the self is aparoksha, that's what is meant there, and not that the knowledge is aparoksha. So since we said that Shruti employs the word Ayam or this to emphasize the point that the knowledge must be aparoksha, then alone one can get liberation. He says no, that Ayam is not meant to indicate the nature of knowledge, it is meant only to indicate the nature of the self which is aparoksha, and therefore Ayam refers to the nature of self. That's the idea. Ayamadi padaprayogasya abhiprayantaram shinkate. The Shruti has a different intention for employing the word Ayam. That question is asked and answered in the verse 21. Ayamityaparokshatvam uchyate cetaduchyadam uchyate cetaduchyadam swayam prakasha chaitanyam aparoksham sadayatah Ayamiti aparokshatvam uchyate chet. In case there is a question that Ayam, this pronoun this, refers to the fact that Atma, the self, is aparoksha or immediate, and not that the knowledge is immediate. Chet, if this is so, taduchyadam, let it be so. Swayam prakasha chaitanyam aparoksham sadayatah. Yatah, because Swayam prakasha chaitanyam of the consciousness is Swayam prakasham, self-effulgent, sada aparoksham, and therefore it is ever immediate. And therefore, if you say that this pronoun I am or this refers to the immediateness of the self, then also it's okay. We earlier said it denotes immediacy of the knowledge. He says it denotes immediacy of the self, we said that also is okay. It denotes immediacy of both the self as well as the knowledge of the self. Says yatha ayam ghatah ityadi prayogeshu idama nirdishtasya vastunah aparoksham drishtam tatha ayamasmi ityatrapi iti bhavaha. Purvapakshi means that usually whenever you employ the pronoun ayam, like ayam ghatah, this pot, this microphone, this book, whenever the pronoun this is employed, ityadi prayogeshu idama nirdishtasya vastunah. That vastu, the object, that is nirdishtasya, denoted by idama. Idama is the third case of the word idam. And so, that vastu, the object, is denoted by the pronoun idam, meaning this. Aparoksham drishtam, we find that we always denote or employ the pronoun this for an object that is immediate. Tatha ayamasmi iti atrapi iti bhavaha. And similarly also, in this particular Shruti statement, the pronoun ayam is meant to show that Atma is immediate. Tadapi asmagam ishtameva. We said yes, that also is acceptable to us. Taduchyadam, let it be so. Kutaha, why do you accept that ayam refers to Atma is immediate? Swayam prakasha chaitanyam. Chaitanyam means consciousness, meaning the self is what? Swayam prakasham, self-effulgent. What do you mean by self-effulgent? Sadhanantara nirapekshataya avabhasamanam. Chaitanyam of the consciousness is that shines without the aid from anything else. Without depending upon anything else, without the help of anything else, that which shines on its own. And there is nothing in the creation that shines by itself. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Only when that one shines, only when the self shines, that the whole universe shines. The whole universe shines in the borrowed light. Whole universe is illumined by the self. We may say that all the objects are illumined by the sun, or by the light which is a modification of sunlight. So all the worldly objects are illumined by the sun. But sun himself is illumined by whom? By my eyes. Because the eyes are not there, the sun is not there. And so we say that the sun is illumined by the eyes. But who illumines the eyes? The mind illumines the eyes. Because if the mind is not behind the eyes, then we don't see something that may be even in front of us. And who illumines the mind? The self illumines the mind. Because the thoughts are known in the light of consciousness. So consciousness or awareness illumines the mind, that illumines the sense organs, and that illumines the objects of the world. And that is how Tameva Bhantam, only when the self shines, that the whole universe shines after. And therefore, everything shines because some reason is there. Everything exists because there is a reason. You require pramanam. Interesting thing is, you require pramanam, a means of knowledge to prove the existence of something. For example, to say that the microphone is, when can we say the microphone is? Only when the microphone becomes an object of my knowledge. Only when I am aware of the microphone, or when the microphone becomes an object of my awareness, then alone I can say microphone is. You cannot say there are horns on my head. Why you cannot say? Because horns on my head do not become the object of your awareness. And therefore, existence of something is established only when there is awareness of that thing. And when can I be aware of a microphone or any other object of the world? Only when the sense organs, respective sense organs, illumine those objects. When can you be aware of the sound or these words that I am speaking? Only when your ears illumine these words. And so, the objects of the world we can be aware of only when they are illumined by the organs of perception. And then further illumined by the mind. And therefore, to prove the existence of anything in the universe, it is necessary that we must operate some pramanam or some valid means of knowledge, such as sense organs or the mind. Otherwise, in deep sleep, the world is not there. Because the means of knowledge, such as the sense organs and the mind, are not functioning. And therefore, we cannot be aware of any objects, and therefore, the objects cannot prove their existence. So everything requires something else to prove their existence. Like all the objects of the world require the means of knowledge, pramanam, the sense organs in the mind, to prove their existence. But Atma is not like that. You do not require eyes or ears to know that you are. You don't even require mind to know that you are. Are you there? Let me think. You don't have to say. Are you there? Let me see. No. Where are you? Let me think. That you have to say. Where may require to be thought about. Are you there or not? No question at all. That I exist. No question, because thank God there is something I don't have to do anything about. Otherwise there will be doubts there also. But there is one thing. Are you? There is no doubt, because existence is self-shining, and therefore I don't have to see the I to establish the existence. I don't have to think of the I to establish the existence. Existence of I is self-established. Because I, the self, is self-existent, self-revealing. That is called sadhanantara nirapekshitaya avabhasamanam chaitanyam. The Chaitanya of the Atma shines without any aid from other source of illumination. Vyavadhayaka abhavat nityam aparokshamiti asmabhi abhivedatvad ityartah. And there is nothing between consciousness and I. Because I ever shines, and I can never be away from it. I can never get away from the self, I can never get away from the consciousness. Just as an ornament can never get away from gold, regardless of what that ornament does. It can jump up and down, do whatever it wants, get melted, it can kill itself, but still can never get away from the gold, because that is the essence of the ornament. And so regardless of what I do, I can never get away from awareness, the consciousness of the self, which is my true nature and which is self-shining. Vyavadhayaka abhavat. There is no vyavadhanam. There is nothing that interrupts. There is nothing that interferes between I and anything else. It directly illumines everything. Nityam aparoksham itasmabhi abhivedatvad. And therefore, we also accept that Atma, the self, is nitya aparoksha. It is ever effulgent, ever shining, ever revealing, ever known immediately. It is an immediate thing. So, I am, therefore, in that mantra, denotes two things. It denotes the immediacy of the self as well as immediacy of the knowledge. Now, an interesting question. They are all technical questions, but then quite interesting. Nanu atmanah swaprakasha chidrupatvena nitya aparokshatva abhipagame ayamidi padaprayogasya अभिप्राय वर्णनांगीकार बलात् आगतम आत्मनः परोक्ष विषयत्वम. So interesting thing is, on one hand you say that self or the Atma is immediate. And on the other hand you say that knowledge of Atma, immediate knowledge of Atma. That shows that you also accept a non-immediate knowledge of Atma. Or you also accept ignorance of Atma. See, when you talk of knowledge of Atma, that one must gain the knowledge of the self, that means that you accept also ignorance of Atma. Had ignorance not been there, the question of knowledge would not have been there. And therefore Atma simultaneously becomes the locus of both ignorance and knowledge. And also, when you talk of immediate knowledge, or aparoksha jnanam, or direct knowledge, that means that you also accept an indirect knowledge. Because when you qualify the word knowledge as immediate knowledge, or direct knowledge, that means that you are accepting what is called indirect knowledge. Otherwise, you would not have to qualify the knowledge as direct knowledge. It seems therefore, with reference to Atma or the self, there can be paroksha jnanam or indirect knowledge also. What they call intellectual knowledge. So, paroksha jnanam, you accept, then alone you use the word aparoksha jnanam. You also use the word jnanam, that means that you accept ajnanam. And therefore, you are saying here that Atma or the self is the locus of both paroksha jnanam and aparoksha jnanam, as well as jnanam and ajnanam. How can it be? If Atma is ever shining, how can it become also locus of aparoksha jnanam, paroksha jnanam? The knowledge of the self must be a paroksham. How can you say that I know Atma indirectly? And thus, this looks like a contradiction. Nanu atmanah swaprakaša chidrupatvena nitya aparokshatva abhivagame. Since Atma is self-effulgent awareness, and therefore it is ever immediate, ayamedi padaprayogasya abhipraya varnangikara balat. And so I am this self, meaning that you should know the self as clearly. So iti padaprayogasya, since the Shruti employs the word I am, abhipraya varnana angikara balat, and so since you abhipraya varnanam, you said that the purpose of the word I am or this is to denote immediate knowledge. So angikara balat agatam atmanah paroksha vishayatvam. That means that until that immediate knowledge takes place, then until that you have to work. So until that immediate or paroksha jnanam is not taken place, what kind of knowledge do you have? Paroksha jnanam or indirect knowledge. That means you are accepting an indirect knowledge of the self, which is yourself. Says aparoksha vishayatvam purvoktam. You said that the wise person has aparoksha jnanam, an ignorant person has paroksha jnanam. Jnana ajnana ashraya vishayatvam va anupannam syat. Therefore Atma becomes the ashraya. Ashraya means the locus of knowledge as well as ignorance. And Atma also becomes the object of knowledge and ignorance. So knowledge pertaining to Atma, ignorance pertaining to Atma, when we say Atma becomes object of knowledge or ignorance. And where does that knowledge or ignorance ultimately reside? In Atma alone. So Atma also is the locus. It is object as well as locus of knowledge and ignorance. Anupannam syat. This is untenable because simultaneously self cannot be the locus of paroksha and aparoksha jnanam. How can there be indirect knowledge about yourself? How can there be ignorance about yourself? Iti ashankya dashame iva sarvam upapachyate iti aha. So gives, always Vedantins have to give illustration to explain the points. So here he gives illustration of the 10th man. Just as in the 10th man, all of this is tenable, as it is in case of 10th man. That yes, you can be ignorant of yourself, it can happen. Or you can have misconception about yourself, that can happen. And that you can gain knowledge about yourself, that can also happen. As it happens in the case of the 10th man. So it is said in the verse 22, Paroksham aparokshancha, paroksham aparokshancha, jnanam ajnanamityadaha, jnanam ajnanamityadaha, nitya paroksha rupepi, nitya paroksha rupepi, dvayam syad dashame yatha, dvayam syad dashame yatha. Paroksham aparoksham cha jnanam ajnanamiti adaha nitya aparoksha rupepi dvayam syad dashame yatha. Nitya aparoksha rupepi atmani. Even in the self which is nitya aparoksha, ever immediate, even there also paroksham aparoksham, there can be indirect knowledge and there can be direct knowledge. Iti ekam yugalam jnanam ajnanam, there can be ignorance as well as knowledge of the Atma. Iti idam dvayam nitya paroksha rupe atmani dashamaiva sya. Just as in case of the 10th man, there is knowledge and ignorance, or there is paroksha and aparoksha jnanam, or direct or indirect knowledge. Similarly also in case of Atma, there can be this. How drashtantam vyutpadayati? That illustration is being explained here in the next verse, 23rd. Navasankhya hrutajnanah dashamo vibhramattada navetti dashamosmiti vikshamano pitannava. Now everyone knows this famous story, of course, that is being said here. Perhaps Tim may not have heard this story, of this 10th man. So it's a story that every Vedantic student must know, the primary story. Without that, Vedantism cannot proceed. So this is the famous story of the 10 men or 10 boys. We call it 10th man story, but always illustrate 10 boys, small school children. Once they were going for a picnic, they were village boys. So 10 of them once set out for a picnic in the morning. Sometimes at noon time they came across a river, and all of them knew swimming because they were brought up in village, so they learned swimming. So they decided to swim across to reach the other bank of the river. All of them plunged into the water, swam their way across and reached the other shore, other bank. And then at that time, the person who was a leader, one of the boys who was a leader, he thought it's worth verifying whether everybody has reached safely or not. So he wanted to verify whether if everyone has reached safely. So how do we verify if all the fellows have reached or not? So though he asked them to line up. He says, fellows line up so I can count and verify. So everybody lined up and he started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He was a little worried. Again he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, now he said maybe he is making a mistake. He would count from this side, from that side. So he said, maybe there is something wrong somewhere. He would ask his fellows, come on fellows, you stand according to your height, come on, let me count again. Then he would count, you see. So now stand alphabetically, you can get different kind of arrangements he made. If he is making some mistake, he made different kinds of arrangements there. Every time the answer was 9, 9 and 9. He was convinced that the 10th boy is lost. And he asked his friends, come on, you please count. Is there some mistake I am making? And his friend also did exactly the same, as intelligent as he was. And so, he also did the same exercise, went through the same exercise of counting and arriving at this number 9. And thus all of them concluded the 10th man is lost. Where is 10th man? There is no 10th man. 10th man is lost. Maybe he is drowned in the water. This is the story. Of course, then they searched all over. They plunged into water and then they searched on the banks of the river and the whole day they were searching. But then they could not find the 10th man. Again they assembled from where they started. All of them were sitting under a tree and weeping. These poor children were wondering, what shall we do now? What will we tell the parents of the boy, And they were just weeping, didn't know what to do. And an old man happened to pass by, saw the children weeping, asked them, hey children, why are you weeping? Then this leader again got up and told the whole story of all that happened to them. And the 10th man immediately just looked at them and quietly counted them, and he knew what the problem was. Immediately he spotted the problem. He says, How do you say the 10th boy is lost? He says, well, I counted them. He says, don't worry, 10th boy is. And it said that those people were, jumped in joy. He says, really? How do you say? 10th boy is. So they still don't know who the 10th boy is. But at least because this older person says, for whom they have all the reverence and respect, and whose words they trust, therefore they accept that yes, the 10th boy must be, because he says, and therefore all their grief is gone. But still they don't know who the 10th boy is. Then the old man says to this leader, come on, how did you arrive at this conclusion that there are 9 boys? So I counted, come on, count them again. So again the fellow asked the rest of them to line up, and again he started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I told you only there are 9 boys. There are no 10 boys. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now when you are counting, you understand the single pointedness of that pursuit here, This is 1, 2, 10. His mind is disengaged from all its preoccupation. It's totally single pointed, concentrated or abiding in that what he is doing. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When it is at that point 9, at that time he said, you are the 10th man. Why? Because he never included himself in the count. Simple story. But it is not so simple for those fellows. Because when you forget to count yourself, or you don't take yourself into account, then you can run around in the whole world. Not only in the whole world. According to this one here, from one birth to the other, and from the second to the third, you can go on round and round of births, looking for the lost 10th man, or looking for the lost self. And so, he is told that you are the 10th man. And then, they jumped in joy. So, how in case of 10th man, this happened? That, when he was searching for the 10th boy, who was he searching for? He was searching for himself. Isn't it ridiculous that you are searching for yourself? Yes, that ridiculous thing can also happen. Under one peculiar condition it can happen. When you do not know who you are. How can it be that I do not know who I am? How can it ever happen? Yes, if my mind is preoccupied with something else. Here the mind is so preoccupied with this number 9 that this fellow will just overlook the fact that he should have counted himself, and therefore, on account of the preoccupation, you can be ignorant of your true nature. So ignorance of the self, there can be such a thing as ignorance of the self. And not only ignorance of the self, but that creates all kinds of problems. Conclusion that the 10th boy is not, that the 10th boy is lost, then they start weeping, and they start searching, that all this business can happen, and similar thing so there can be something called knowledge, ignorance of the self. There can be something called misconceptions about oneself, that I am not the 10th boy. And there can be search for oneself. And then one can never discover as long as the search goes on. When the search is stopped, and when he's all ready, in meditation, utter meditation, or utterly alert with the 9, and then he's told, you are the 10th boy. That's why all this samadhanam is required, Samadhi shatka sampatti is required. Shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. Samadhanam means single pointedness. Then when you are told, then definitely it becomes very clear. And when he's told that you are the 10th one, immediately he came to know, and all the misconceptions born of ignorance are gone. He knows his true self, and the joy returns. See, all the grief is gone, and there is only joy. So this is the story of the 10th boy. How in case of the 10th person? The 10th boy himself was the locus of ignorance and then locus of knowledge. And when that old man said, don't worry, the 10th boy is, all of them had hope. That is what we call indirect knowledge of paroksha jnana of the 10th boy, because he still doesn't know that I am the 10th boy. There is only knowledge, 10th boy is. And then finally, when he is taught in that particular manner, that you are the 10th boy, then Dashamos, I am the 10th boy, there is that immediate knowledge, aparoksha jnanam. And that knowledge alone relieves them, that gives them liberation. Otherwise, 10th voice is not enough. They'll still look around, where is he? But I am the 10th voice. When that immediate knowledge takes place, then they are liberated from all the grief and all the effort. So this whole thing is being said here in several verses. Says Navasankhya Hrutaඥāno, so Dashamo Vibhramat Tada. न संख्या हृतज्ञान है परिगणनीय पुरुषनिष्ठया नवसंख्यया अपहृत विवेक ज्ञान है दशम है परिगणनीय पुरुषनिष्ठया that navasankhya, nava means 9, that number 9 which is parigananiya purushanishtha, that number 9 that abides in the persons who are counted. And he is so preoccupied with that number 9. Apahruta viveka jnana hai. On account of the conclusion that the total number is 9, and that conclusion has so much distracted him from his own self, that his discriminative knowledge has been dropped away by his preoccupation with the counting of 9. Dashamaha tada tan parigananiyan Navasankhyakan Vikshramanopi. And while he is counting, he sees all the 9 fellows there. And therefore, even though seeing these 9 persons there, and it should have been very simple that I am the 10th person. But then, in spite of seeing the 9th, all of them, Samyak Pashyanapi Bhrantya Ganana Kartaram Swatmanam Dashmohamasmiti Naveti. On account of Bhranti or delusion, even though he ignorance of the 10th voice. Then it doesn't stop there. They did not know who there is 10th. I mean, he did not know the 10th voice. From that arises what we call a projection or misconception or bhranti. So, evam dashame ajnanam pradasya tat karyam avaranam darshayati. First stage is ignorance. Then that ignorance has two aspects, avaranam and vikshepa. So, avaranam is also shown here in the 24th. And then vikshepa is shown, and then paroksha jnanam is shown, then aparoksha jnanam is shown. This verse, each verse indicates these different stages. Says 24th verse, what does he say? Nabhati nasti dashamaha, nabhati nasti dashamaha, iti swam dashamam tada, iti swam dashamam tada, matva vakti tadajnana, Matva vakti tadajnana kritamaavaranam viduhu kritamaavaranam viduhu. Nabhati nasti dashamah iti swam dashamam tada. Tada dashamah swam dashamam santam dashamah nabhati nasti iti matva vakti. At that time, when the counting has taken place up to 9, and he doesn't know who the 10th boy is, then what does he say? At that time, Dashamaha Swam Dashamam Santam, this person who is counting, in spite of himself being the 10th, even though the one who counts himself is 10th, Dashamo Nabhati, he says, I don't see the 10th man. Dashamo Nabhati, Dashamo Nasti, there is no 10th man. First he says, I don't see the 10th man. And then he says, there is no 10th man. This arises from what? Ignorance of the 10th man. He himself is the 10th man, ignorance of the 10th man creates what we call avaranam. I don't see the 10th man, there is no 10th man. Iti bhakti, this is what he says. This avaranam is also, in the earlier chapters it was explained, this avaranam is twofold. It's called asatvapadakam and abhanapadakam. Asatva apadaka meaning that which veils the sattva or existence of a thing. Abhana padaka meaning that which veils the shining of a thing. So the 10th man is, the 10th man shines, meaning is evident. And even then, his ignorance conceals the very existence of the 10th man, and therefore he says, there is no 10th man. It conceals the very manifestation of 10th man, and so he says, I don't see the 10th man. See how the ignorance, even though himself the 10th man, the ignorance of the 10th man brings about first statement, I don't see the 10th man. So the manifestation of the 10th man is concealed. There is no 10th man. That means existence of the 10th man is concealed. It is abhana padakam and asatva padakam. Tad ajnana kritam avaranam viduhu asya vyavaharasya yat karanam tad ajnana kritam ajnana karyam avaranam viduhu buddha iti sheshaha. This expression on his part, I don't see the 10th man and there is no 10th man, this very expression shows what? Asya vyavahara. Vyavahara means shabda prayoga. An expression. It's called vyavahara here. Asya vyavaharasya yat karanam. What's the cause of this expression? I don't see the 10th man, there is no 10th man. Tat ajnana kritam, meaning ajnana karyam, avaranam viduhu. This is called avaranam or veiling, which is caused by ignorance. Buddhaha viduhu iti sheshaha. The wise people say that this is caused by the veiling power of ignorance. And then it doesn't stop there. It proceeds further. From avaranam arises vikshepa, meaning distraction. So what happens? That is being said there. Ajnanasyeva karya vishesha vikshepam darshayati. And this avarana, the veiling, further results into vikshepa. Vikshepa means projection. So what's the further projection? Says the verse 25. Nadyam mamara dashamaha Nadyam mamara dashamaha iti shochan praroditi iti shochan praroditi ajnana krita vikshepam rodanadim vidurbudhaha rodanadim vidurbudhaha. And then what happens to him? He says, Nadyam mamara dashamaha iti. He says, hey, the 10th man is died now. 10th man is dead and he is drowned in the river. So he says, iti shochan praroditi. And he is grieving like this, grieving that, oh, the 10th man is drowned and he is dead. And he must be weeping for his eyes, tears streaming from his eyes and wondering what shall we, of course having lost a friend, doesn't know who that friend is. It's interesting, When those fellows, what shall we answer this to his parents? What answer shall we give to his parents? What face shall we show to the parents? Who are the parents? That is no clarity at all there, But the mind is so preoccupied with the idea that the 10th boy is lost and that he is drowned that they don't even bother to visualize the 10th boy. Nadyam mamara dashamahidi shochan praroditi. Grieving that the 10th boy is lost in the river, is dead in the river, praroditi. All of them wail, weep. Ajnana krita vikshepam rodananim. This rodanam, this wailing, and perhaps all kinds of things they do, Oh, what did we do and why did we do and all sorts of things, So this weeping, this mourning, this wailing, all of that. They say that this is vikshepa, ajnana krita vikshepam. This is vikshepa, all the projection, all the misapprehension that is brought about by ignorance. This is called vikshepa. Then what happens? Dashamasya asatvamsha nivartakam paroksha jnanamaha. Then the old man comes about and then tells them that 10th man is. Don't worry children, 10th man is. Now when the 10th man is, then what knowledge takes place is called indirect knowledge. And what it does, it is one conclusion that they had, that the 10th man is not. At least now that conclusion is gone. 10th man is. Still he does not see the 10th man. But so far he thought the 10th man is not. That asatvamsha, the 10th man is not. That element of the avaranam goes away. By the paroksha jnanam, 10th man is. Dashamasya asatvamsha nivartakam paroksha jnanamaha. That indirect knowledge. Paroksha jnanam always eliminates asatva. Aparoksha jnanam eliminates abhanatva. Indirect knowledge eliminates the notion that the truth is not, Brahman is not, self is not. And the immediate knowledge eliminates all the misconception about knowledge that I don't know myself. That abhana also goes away by immediate knowledge. So that says, verse 26, Namruto dashmostiti Namruto dashmostiti Shrutvaptavachanam tada Shrutva-aptavachanam tada Parokshatvena dashamam Vetti svargadilokavata Numrutaha dashmahasti. Then the old man says, don't worry, the 10th boy has not died, is not dead. It is Shrutva. When they hear this, is called Aptavakya. Aptavachanam tada. Apta means an informed person. Let's call Apta. So we call him Apta or informed, in whose words we can have trust. So when we can trust somebody's words, then that person, informed person, is called Aptaha. So this old man, very reliable, and therefore the children immediately had a respect for him. And when he said, don't worry, the 10th boy is not dead, then immediately, Shrutva aptavachanam tada parokshatvena dasham veti. Then all of these came to know, yes, 10th boy is. But what is that knowledge? It's called paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge, because the 10th boy still has not become the object of immediate knowledge. Who the 10th boy is, how does he look like, that they do not know. Svargadilokavata. Just as we might hear the words describing Svarga, we might hear description of heavens, and we might construct some kind of a picture in our own mind about heavens, but we have not seen the heavens immediately or directly ourselves. Why heavens? If I describe to you Gomukh, the source from where the Ganga emerges from the glacier, as we say. Suppose when I give that description, you will form a certain picture in your mind. That knowledge will be called paroksha jnanam or indirect knowledge. Only when you go there does it become aparoksha jnanam or immediate knowledge. Similarly also, when these boys are told that the 10th boy is not dead, the what knowledge that takes place is called paroksha jnanam, like the heavens. So that's the first step. And then tasyeva abhanam shanivardakam aparoksha jnanam darshayati. And then subsequently what we call aparoksha jnanam or immediate knowledge takes place, which eliminates abhanamsha. I don't see him, now I see him also. First I said he's not there, now at least I know he is. I still don't see him, he says I see him also. That I don't see him, abhanamsha, that also goes away. Let's say it in the verse 27. Tvameva dashamositi ganayitva pradarshitah aparokshataya jnatva hrushyatyeva naroditi. Svena pariganitaihi navavihi sah svatmanam ganitva tvameva dashmositi pradarshitah. Now the old man teaches them. This is called pramana vyavahara. Just as the teacher employs the Upanishad, words of Upanishads to unfold the nature of the self, so also the old man employs certain methodology to reveal the 10th man. What's the methodology? He asks this boy to count again. And at the right moment he says, you are the 10th man. This is called pramana vyavahara, meaning the right methodology for communication. So having counted the 9, and then tvameva dashamosi, you are the 10th man, it is ganayitva pradarshitah. Thus by counting is shown. The only thing, what caused this difficulty? The counting caused the difficulty, understand? What created this misconception? The counting. What kind of counting? Wrong counting. Therefore, right counting alone will be able to eliminate the error or the misconception created by wrong counting. And therefore, the old man asked them to count, and by right counting, iti ganayitva pradarshitah aparokshataya jnatva. Then he says, hey, I am the 10th man. Aparokshataya jnatva hrushyatyeva naroditi. All the rudanam, all the grief and all the weeping immediately disappeared. Hrishyati, now he jumps in joy. As a matter of fact, by paroksha jnanam, also rudanam has gone away. But by paroksha jnanam, I am the 10th man, then all the joy has come back. So, shoka nivrutti and ananda avapti. The grief has gone away and the joy of the happiness has come. Aham dashmosmiti aparokshata jnatva harsham prapnoti rodanam tyajati. He gives up his weeping and he is very happy. And thus, in this Drishtanta illustration, 7 stages have been indicated, which is concluded in the verse 28. Evam Drishtanta bhute dashame pradarshitam avastha saptakam anudya darshantake atmanyavi tadyojniyam ityaha. In this manner, in what we call Drishtanta of the illustration, these 7 stages are indicated, and those 7 stages should also be seen in case of Darstanta or that which is illustrated, namely the self. So what are the 7 stages are just indicated here in the verse 28. Ajnana vritti vikshepa dvividha jnana truptayah shokapagama ityete yojaniyaschidatmani. Ajnana, Avruti, Vikshepa, Dvividha Jnanam means Paroksha Jnanam, Aparoksha Jnanam, Truptaya Trupti, and Shokapagama meaning elimination of Shoka. Iti Avastha Bhedaha Yojaniyaha Chidatmani. Ajnana means ignorance. Avruti, the veiling. Vikshepa, the projection. Dvividham Jnanam, twofold knowledge. Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge. Aparoksha Jnanam, direct knowledge. Truptihi, total satisfaction. Shokapagamaha, elimination of grief. So these are the 7 stages which are shown in case of the 10th man, and similarly also the 7 stages should be understood in case of one's own self. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.